So yeah, I don't know what I don't know what the day has in store. That concept is very similar to Good Luck Chuck, the movie. Is there a plunger emoji? Yeah. So today I decided that I wanted to start a reading blog. So the majority of the reading blogs that I've done so far this year have all been either books that were part of a series, or they were blogs for like content, like I don't know if this is coming out before or after, but the Battle of the Booktuber. That's the majority of the reading blogs that I've done this year. But last year, you may remember if you were here, I did a reading blog, and I don't remember what it was called. I think I was like reading new releases maybe. During that video, I read an arc for a book called Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. And I had never read an Abby Jimenez book. I don't even remember what made me even request this arc in the first place, because I had never read anything by her, but like I said, hadn't even really heard of this book. And so I decided to read this book. Had zero expectations, didn't really go into it thinking that I was gonna, you know, enjoy it or hate it necessarily. But I ended up loving that book. Gave it 5 stars, and it was the best fiction book that I read in 2023. And so I decided that I'm now going to vlog my experience reading her next release, which is called Just for the Summer, which came out in April of this year. And I want to see if I'm going to have similar reactions to this book as I did to Yours Truly. Now, I'm predicting that the reaction may not be quite as strong, because I feel like sometimes when I go into a book having certain expectations, because the book isn't meeting the expectations that I created in my mind, that it ends up kind of affecting my experience with it or my enjoyment with it. But when I go into a book having zero expectations at all, I end up like absolutely loving it, because the bar was underground to begin with. So because my expectations are kind of high for this book, I'm worried that I'm not gonna like it. I figured this would be fun to vlog and see and be able to compare my experience with this book now that I know who Abby Jimenez is and I really enjoy her work. Because I did also go back after I read Yours Truly, I did go back and read Part of Your World, which I also really enjoyed. I didn't give it 5 stars, but I did really enjoy it. I'm nervous that it's not gonna live up to the hype, and so we are going to jump in and we're gonna see what are my thoughts on last year's top author, top book for me. Basically, the premise of this book is that it's a guy and a girl. Both of them have like this curse, I believe, where when they date people, they end up breaking up with them, and then the person that they were dating goes off to like find the love of their life, and so they decide they're gonna try to date each other and hope that their curses like cancel each other out, and then they'll break up and be able to find the love of their life. But I believe both of them are dealing with some pretty heavy family stuff. I think I forget, one of them is dealing with some heavy stuff with their mom. I think the other one is having to like take on guardianship of like their nieces or nephews or younger siblings or something. But that's pretty much all I know going into this book. So let's see what happens.
Good morning. It is Friday morning. What day is it? May 2nd, I think? I don't even know. No, today's the 3rd. Just kidding. Today's May 3rd. You guys can't tell, but we are in a completely different location. So yesterday, I don't think I introduced the fact that like Katie and everybody was coming. If you guys follow my channel or follow their channels, then you already knew they were coming. But the day yesterday was just like really hectic, trying to get everything like together, trying to get myself together, trying to get everything packed or whatever, that I did not have time to introduce like what we were going to be doing before we started doing it. So you guys know that I'm reading just for the summer. That's what this vlog is. And everybody got into town. We had a great time. We ate lunch. The food was good. The drinks were even better. We got ice cream. The ice cream was fabulous. Oh my gosh. I had like lavender something, I forget what it was called, but it was like lavender water infused ice cream or something. It was fantastic. What else did we went like grocery shopping. We obviously went to the bookstore, we went to the library. I got a new library card. I don't even know what else we did. We did a lot of stuff. We had like games set up. So we got to the Airbnb initially, like we dropped off our stuff and then we left and like did stuff. Then we came back to the Airbnb like to stay for the night. The temperature was at like 80 degrees. Now mind you, the temperature for the day was, I don't know, 87 I think is what the weather said it was going to be. I didn't actually check the weather like the day of to see like, oh, how high did it actually get today? But I know like going into Thursday, the weather said it was going to be up to like 87 degrees, which is pretty hot for May, especially in Maryland. But when we got to the Airbnb, we were like, it's really hot in here. We looked at the thermostat was on like 80 and the heat was on. The temperature would not go down. We probably got in around, I'm gonna say around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And by 10:30 it was still 80 degrees. So we ended up not staying there. We packed up our stuff and we left, and we are now at Vanessa's house. So that is where I currently am. But yeah, I love this little patio area. She doesn't have patio furniture, that's why I'm sitting on the ground, but it's still a really nice day out. I don't really know what the plan is for today because our plans kind of got a little bit derailed just because of the whole like Airbnb situation. But enough about the trip. This is supposed to be a vlog check-in for, or a reading check-in for just for the summer. And I have to say, I think I'm like 30% in or close to 30%. And I'm really, really, really enjoying it. Not quite as much as yours truly, obviously. And not quite as much as Part of Your World. But again, I'm still very early in. There's still a lot of time left. But I'm enjoying it. Like, I like the way that it started. I thought it was really interesting that the book started with, like, the male's POV. I feel like, and I could be wrong because it's been a while since I've read Yours Truly and Part of Your World, but I'm pretty sure that those two books, you know, it starts off with the female leads, like, POV. And so this book, there's like two dogs on the balcony across from me that are like fighting. But yeah, I think it starts off with the female's POV, but this book starts off with the male's POV, which I thought was really cool and like different. I really like the way that they met. Like, they met online and they just kind of had like this natural, you know, kind of like flirty banter that was like very friendly flirty, not like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get in her pants kind of like flirty. It was just like very like harmless, but like kind of like flirty. I really like that. I like the, oh my gosh, is that a bee? I like them together. I like their personalities together. There are definitely some very quotable like lines and like, you know, aspirational, motivational, like philosophical, put you in your feels, like very like self-reflecting kind of quotes in this book. Chapter 15, she went off on chapter 15, okay? Chapter 15 slaps when it comes to like quotes and perspective and stuff like that. I have quite a few like tabs in chapter 15. I do really like the guy. Oh my gosh, when he plans their dates, he sends them sends her a survey being like, oh, do you want to be formal, dressy, business casual? Do you want to go like to the park? Do you want to go to a restaurant? I forget what else he asked her. Oh, do you want to do like, you know, a breakfast date, like coffee, or do you want to do like a lunch date, dinner? Like, he sends her a survey asking her like what she wants to do for the date. And then he basically tailors the date around like what her answers were, like what her preferences were to the survey. And I think that was so cute. This is how you know it's a fiction book, because I don't know any man ever in my life that has actually done something like that in real life, but that is so, like, I love that. I want to meet a man that is Jacob from from Yours Truly, but that does the surveys like this guy. And I also don't remember what this guy's name is. It's not Brad, because his dog's name is Brad. He named his dog after his best friend. He dated a girl, they broke up, and then the girl, One True Love, ended up being his best friend Brad, and now his best friend is dating, or they might even be married at this point, I don't remember, but they're like dating or whatever, like his ex-girlfriend basically. And that's not even what he's mad about. The reason why he named his dog Brad was because he started dating his ex-girlfriend. They like were roommates. He moved out and left him with the rent or with the lease or whatever to pay it all by himself. And so he was very upset that he got left to pay the rent by himself, left with the lease by himself. And so he named his dog Brad because he's like, well, my dog is more loyal than my best friend. Also, I was kind of surprised because I knew that there was going to be like some family drama involved. Like I knew going into it that he was going to have to become like the guardian of like his nieces and nephews or his brothers and sisters, which it turns out is his brothers and sisters. And I knew that the girl, I think her name is Emma, I don't remember, but I knew that she was gonna have some issues like with her mom coming back into the picture. But what I didn't realize was how early that stuff was going to be going on. I don't know why, but I was kind of under the impression that we were gonna see like them forming a romance, them forming a relationship, and then like kind of like the third act conflict, so to speak, or maybe like midway through the conflict would be these things kind of interjecting into their love story and like making it hard for them to be together. But actually we got these things like very early on. Like they're not even like in love yet, like they're fake dating, getting to know each other. Like it's still like the very early stages of their relationship, and we've already seen the mom kind of come in and like cause a little bit of confusion, and they're kind of nervous because the mom has come in and she's dating the guy whose house, like they're renting a house, and they came into town and immediately started basically dating their landlord, who also is like a surgeon or like the head of surgery or something at the hospital that they work at. And her mom doesn't have a good track record, right? And so they're nervous that like her mom is gonna do something to piss this guy off, and then this guy's gonna like kick them out of the house and like fire them from the hospital that they work at. Which plot twist, I love that she did this, but the guy that the mom is dating, that's the landlord and that is the head of surgery, is the ex-husband to the main character in Part of Your World. So love that. Thought that was super cool. And then the guy's mom, I think she's going to prison for like embezzlement or something, and so he's now going to have to take guardianship of his younger siblings who are all minors, which is a pretty heavy thing to have to basically be forced on you. Like the chaos, the conflict is already happening, and they're not even like officially together. So I thought that was interesting, and I'm very curious to see like how their relationship develops as a result of these things already being in play. I'm curious to see how Abby like navigates that. But yeah, that is the update. Like I said, I don't know what we're doing for the rest of the day, but of course I will take you guys along with us, whatever we end up doing. We're gonna be hanging out, you know what I mean? Spending time with each other. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what the whole point of this trip was. So I don't know how much actual reading I'm gonna get done, so I may not do another check-in until after this trip is over, but we'll see. We'll see.
Finished just for the summer, and I was kind of battling in terms of what I wanted to rate this in the end, because on the one hand I felt like it didn't give me the feels the way that yours truly did, and I feel like it wasn't as romance heavy as Part of Your World was, but at the same time there's definitely a lot of good like messaging in this book that I feel like I was able to take away. As always, I don't know how Abby Jimenez does it, but somehow she always manages to like infuse like these really moving like takeaway messages. I don't even know, like I don't know. There's always something like really impactful that I feel like I walk away from having read her books, whether it's impactful in like a I didn't know that, like now I've learned something, like especially with a lot of the domestic violence talk that happens in Part of Your World. I felt like that was very enlightening for me personally, whereas like in yours truly it was really impactful because I felt like it was extremely relatable, and Jacob in particular. And then in this book I feel like, you know, it was kind of both, where it's like there are definitely aspects of this that I feel like are super relatable, especially when it comes to Emma's character and her relationship relationship with her parent, I felt very understood. I feel like Abby gets it, you know what I mean? Like she gets it, she's here, we're here. So I enjoyed kind of reading her story, and I think what really put this book over the top, because at first I was gonna give it like a 4, and I'm like 4.5, and I was like but I honestly think that one, the Easter eggs in this book were fantastic. I am so stupid, and I did not realize until like 70% into the book that Justin, he had these 2 friends, Brad and Benny, and he talks about them throughout the book. It never dawned on me that Benny was Benny from Yours Truly. Like, how did I not pick up on that? I like the fact that you got to see Neil, and like, you know, she incorporated Neil in kind of a big way. Like, he had a pretty big role in this book, surprisingly, for a character that we kind of already knew, already met, and kind of had done away with, and we were over him. The way that she brought him back I thought was really cool. The way that she incorporated him into the story, the way that you kind of get to see where he is now, I thought was really like well done. Obviously she brings back Alexis and Daniel and Jacob and Brianna, and like, you know, all the people. Even like, what was his name, Hector? Like she brings back Hector, like just everybody, which I thought was awesome. What I thought was that this book was gonna be kind of gimmicky, because the whole like Good Luck Chuck vibes, where it's like, oh, we're cursed, we're gonna fake a date to get rid of the curse. But it started off that way, but like the focus wasn't necessarily on that. The focus wasn't even really on their romance a whole lot. I feel like the focus was more so on what they were dealing with in their personal lives with their families, and trying to build a romance around and like navigate their situations around them trying to build a romance, but like they were struggling to build a romance because of the things that were going on in their real life, which I thought was really interesting. I think that is a story that I haven't seen Abby do, which I thought was really cool. The banter in this book, it's Abby Jimenez, so you already know the banter is going to be fire. And I think that was the best part of their romance, was their banter. Because to be honest, you don't really get a whole lot of romance. You get them liking each other, and you know they both like each other. He kind of, you know, falls harder than she does. She's very like, I need to keep my distance because I don't want to fall for him, and I don't want to get too invested in him and his family and, you know, the kids that he's taking care of, knowing that I'm probably going to abandon them. So she is kind of like the obstacle that prevents them from really being able to develop a romance. So it's not like a romance in the sense of like what her previous books have been, or like what you would expect like a rom-com to be. It's really like, you know, guy falls first, and the girl is very like, ew, like no, very like detached, like, oh, let's just have a fling, I don't want to get too, you know, close with you and your family. Both of them are dealing with heavy stuff that have to do with their parents and the things that, when I say things, I mean trauma, their parents left them with. And that's what you're looking for. These 2 people who are both kind of burdened with trauma that they got from their childhood and from their upbringing, from their parents, and how they kind of bond in a sense. Not necessarily because of that, but it's just these 2 people that are kind of broken and have very difficult parents that have left them with a lot of baggage, and how they navigate that, and at the same time kind of find someone that understands them and kind of meets them where they're at, which is an expression that they use a lot in the book actually, but kind of meets them where they're at and just kind of get each other and fall in love in the process. Then this is the book for you. And then also the author's note in this I thought was fantastic. Like, I have such like a better appreciation for this book after having read the author's note, or like the Q&A or whatever it was that's at the end. I thought that was really good. One, she even like points out even more Easter eggs that I didn't notice while I was reading, which was cool. But then she also kind of got into like why she did certain things with the characters and like some of the symbolism and stuff. And it's funny because I feel like I've had conversations on sprints where, you know, we've talked about how in English class, like reading isn't fun when you're in school, because in English class they make you pull out like the foreshadowing, the motifs and the symbolism and stuff like that. And it's like, maybe the author wasn't even thinking about all of this. Maybe the author just was writing a book. But in this book, she actually does talk about some of the like intentional symbolism in things, and like why she used certain characters and why she wrote certain characters the way that she did and how it was intentional. So I thought that was really cool, and I think that it was really well thought out the way that she did it. So yeah, I'm really blown away. Like if I thought that I liked the book, you know, when I finished it, like having read the Q&A was like, it just took it over the top. I think that if the author's note Q&A thing wasn't in the book, that I probably would have given a 4.5, but I think that having that context from the author really like pushed it up for me. So I'm gonna go with a 4.75 for this one. Yeah, with that said, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, is there a plunger emoji? There is a plunger emoji. If you made it this far into the video, drop a plunger emoji down in the comment. Let me know, out of the most recent 3, so just the Summer Part of Your World and yours truly, which one is your favorite one? My favorite is yours truly, of course, obviously, but I'm curious to know if you guys have a different one that is your favorite. Let me know what it is and why. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.